Today is what we call DMC Sunday. DMC is Duluth Masters Commission, which we are the directors of and pastors of. I am Pastor Jen, this is Pastor Kelsey. Hi. And we are very excited just to share our hearts and vision with you. Masters Commission is an intense discipleship program, and our students will touch on that a little later. They'll also share a little bit on their hearts and speaking the word. Yes, Nicole? Oh, Nicole is one of our awesome students. You'll be hearing from her today. As we were praying for this year, the Lord impressed upon our heart the word freedom. And this is our theme that we've adopted for the year. And we really believe that He wants to do something incredible in our students' lives. And the great thing about freedom is it doesn't just break the chains of things that you're bound to, that you need freedom from, but when you break loose of those things, you then have freedom to move forward into new things. And so would you pray with us for this year? Another thing is our missions trip we're planning. And one thing that we want to do is go to Houston, Texas during the Super Bowl and work with the LA Dream Center in freeing women from sex slavery. And that is an amazing, awesome opportunity that we'll have to be a part of. So pray with us as we plan for that as well. But really quick, we wanted to introduce some students to you. We've got a video up here, and Kelsey will tell you about our students.
I will. The students today are going to be talking to you a little bit about what it means to them to be a DMC student and how that just doesn't relate to them, but that can go into everybody's life. That they get an opportunity to come and set aside everything and be here and just set aside their year or 2 years to focus on what God has for them. But they're going to challenge you today how you can do that and bring that to your own life. And so we're really excited about that. And these other students that are coming, you will meet these three shortly, but we can start the slideshow. I can't say that very well, however. But we can start it, and you can just meet some of the students that are coming. This is Matthew. We met him in Ireland. And as you can read it up there, but we are very excited for him to come. He is called to be a church planter. When we met him, he mentioned wanting to plant churches in Ireland. He has a strong call to that country. So we're very excited to be able to pour into his life and get a chance to help him develop those skills. And we will move on eventually to Kyle, and he will introduce himself a little bit to you later. He's one of our second years. You may have seen him around last year, but he feels called to work in a church. He's still developing exactly what that will look like, but we love the opportunity and chance that we have to help him figure that out. And actually, as we're here, if anyone else is here, we are still accepting applications. If this is something that you feel really called or drawn to, we would love for you to apply to get a chance to do something like this year. And as we go on, this is Megan. We met Megan this past year. We're very excited for her to come. She feels called to children's ministry. So we'll have her partnering with Pastor Amanda a lot to just be able to hone those skills. And we're excited to be able to help her develop that and just be able to see what else God has for her in her future. This is John. You may have met him as well. He's going to be one of our second-year students, and he feels called to actually help in nursing homes, and he has a couple of Bible studies going in them right now. He feels a call to minister to the elderly, and we're very excited to be able to help him pursue that. And we'll move on shortly. This is Michael. We actually met Michael in Florida when we went to General Council at one of our promotional trips, which is pretty exciting. We're excited to have people from Florida and Pennsylvania this year, and he feels called to be a pastor and a youth pastor, so we'll have him partner with Pastor Josiah, as well as just all of the pastors in our church, and they're going to be pouring into his life. They learn about hermeneutics, they learn about speaking, they learn about evangelism, they learn about basically everything, all at the same time taking classes through West Coast Bible College. So we give them the experience side, but they also take Bible classes. So once they graduate, they can get their pastoral license as well as a degree. I couldn't remember that word. I do have a degree, though, so I should remember it. Anyway, this is Nicole, and she will be preaching to you today, and we're excited for that. She feels called to be a church planter. She came in thinking it was maybe youth ministry, but last year God kind of made her realize that she is called to plant a church and become a senior pastor, and we're really excited for that, and we have loved the opportunity to pour into her, and we're excited and very grateful that we get this chance to help her develop those skills and that calling. And then the last one is Tyler. He's another second year, and he also feels called to youth ministry, but he does hope to go into missions as well, and he wants to be a senior he wants to do it all. He has a strong call in his life, and he is very excited to do ministry, and he will also be preaching to you guys today. So without further ado, we will let them take it away.
Maybe? There we go. Good morning, Hermantown Community Church. My name is Nicole. I'm a second-year Duluth Master's Commission student. If I'm being honest with you guys, first service was a little rough for me, so y'all came to the right service today. And beautiful day for church, absolutely lovely outside. I encourage you all to come to our picnic afterwards. Enjoy the weather and good company. I am not Pastor Thor, as many of you know, and if you're a first-timer and you're like, who's Pastor Thor? Who are you? What's going on? What's this video? I encourage you to come back next week, and Pastor Thor is back. He is the man who planted this church, and he's been ministering to Hermantown for 25 years. We're coming up on our 25th anniversary, so I encourage you guys to come back and hear him preach. Video without explanation is a little awkward, right? So I'm going to explain that in just a second. Actually, you know what? I'm going to explain it right now. So I'm going to kind of break down all of those words, all of those items that you saw. And the reason I'm going to do that is because it's going to lay the foundation for Tyler to come up and encourage you guys and challenge you guys. So I encourage you to take notes, because when Tyler starts preaching and he gets on a roll, you're going to want to look back and be like, oh yeah, that's what the video and what Nicole said and everything. So, and it also, notes help with the memory part of it, memorizing and remembering what we talked about here today. So I encourage you guys to jot some of these ideas down. The first thing I'm going to talk about is family, which was represented by the little paper cutout people. Yeah, I thought I said people twice. That was almost really embarrassing. Okay, so it was a little cutout people, and I personally believe that the enemy is attacking families in the church. We have divorce rates on a climb. We have rebellious teenagers who rebel against parents and siblings and friends. The family is falling apart. Not even just like the household family, but the family of the church. All of you guys are a family, and we're falling apart, and we're having a hard time, agreeing on things, and it's getting in the way of loving each other like Christ has called us to do. And so that's the family aspect. And then discipline is represented by shoes, the idea of like running and disciplining your body. Discipline is a hard thing to talk about. Just because a lot of people believe that as long as you're happy, as long as you're just living a good life and you wake up happy, then that's all that matters. You don't need to, discipline yourself and say, I'm not going to do this. I am going to do this. I'm going to read my Bible every morning. I'm going to spend 30 minutes in prayer. Like, that's a hard thing to do. That's a hard thing for us to put into our everyday lives. But Paul wrote in the Bible, as many of you know, some of you might not know, he said that he beat his body and made it his slave. He disciplined his body and made it his slave so that he could do the work that God had called him to do. And so I encourage you all to do the same. And then teachability was represented by clay, the idea of being molded. The Bible talks about how God is a potter and we are the clay, and he's molding us and he's shaping us, but we have to be open to that. We have to be open to being taught things, even the hard things, like how to be maybe a submissive wife, or how to be, or how to have healthy relationships with the opposite gender. Like, those things are hard to learn. Those things are hard to open ourselves up to, but we have to. It's what God is calling us to do. We can't just pick and choose what we want to learn. We can't pick and choose parts of the Bible that we're going to accept and follow. We have to be open to being taught. We have to be teachable. The next thing is leadership, which is represented by vines. It's the idea of growing. And vines aren't really that like loud and obnoxious and boisterous like maybe roses are like really red and beautiful, and vines are just kind of do their own thing, and they're mostly green and just kind of bland looking. So leaders don't have to be loud. Leaders don't have to be on stage with a microphone yelling and doing all kinds of stuff. They don't have to be CEOs. You can be a leader in your family, to your children. You could be a leader to your spouse. You could be a leader to your friends. You could be a leader to your neighbors. Leading by example runs so much deeper than leading with a microphone or leading with a title. And then next is sacrifice, which we chose the item of glow sticks for, and I love that we chose that because the glow sticks don't shine, they don't glow until after they are broken. And I think that's really comparable to our lives, that sometimes we can't shine and we can't reach the potential that God has laid out before us because we won't allow ourselves to be broken, and we won't give up things that may be in the way of that. And then next is creativity, which we use a paintbrush. Just for simplicity's sake, we use a paintbrush because it's easy for people to see that and think, oh, creativity. But creativity isn't just a Picasso painting. It isn't just a Harry Potter novel. Creativity comes in problem solving, creative problem solving, when you're looking at something in front of you and you're going, there is no way I'm going to fix this. There's no way I can get past this. I'm absolutely stuck. But to look at it and be creative and be like, you know what, maybe if we try this, or maybe if I get someone to come alongside me, or maybe if I just find a different way to do it. And then there's uncomplacency, which I Googled uncomplacency and non-complacency to try to find which one is the right term, but Google was of no help. Thanks, Google. So I'm sorry, I don't know which one it is, but the idea of not being complacent, and complacency is settling and getting comfortable, and we don't want that. We don't want to just be comfortable in our nice 2-story house with our nice vehicles. Like, we just don't want to be comfortable in that situation. We always want to be striving for more. We want to be striving for a deeper relationship with people and with the Lord. We don't want to settle, especially as Christians, because God has so much for us, and all he wants is for us to step into that and keep moving forward. But we like to get in our little comfort zones and just stay here, and God's like, hey, but I got stuff for you out here, and you need to step into that. So stepping out of complacency and into something like that is absolutely incredible. And then there's excellence. So excellence is something that, like, yeah, that person did that really, really well. That person is excellent, but me, I just kind of wing it. I kind of just throw stuff together, and I can't even be excellent. You know, I'm just average. I'm just a average Joe, if you will. But excellence takes time, and excellence is the best you can do. It doesn't have to be like your neighbor. It doesn't have to be like everyone else does. Excellence is putting time into something and putting effort into something, and that is very important as Christians and as people, just striving after excellence. And the last one is servant, which we used a rag often because as servants we wash tables and we wash things. Servants wash things, I guess. And I'm not even really going to talk about that myself. Instead, I'm just going to quote Axel Zellman. How many of you know Axel Zellman? Incredible dude. He's a DMC student. Thank you. Axel said this last year. He said, if God of the universe can come down in human form to serve, it says something about how we should respond and treat people. And to me, that was like the best description of servant. Like, literally, you can't top that. And so, this video, these things I'm talking about, these are things that Axel and I sat down and we said, all right, we need to come up with words, like 9, 10 words that represent Master's Commission, that represent us as a program, and this is what we came up with. And so at our graduation, we showed the video and we gave the speech, and it was awesome. Everyone kind of got a glimpse into what we do at Masters and what we believe in and what we strive after. And then Jen and Kelsey, our directors, which you met earlier, were like, hey, we are doing DMC Sunday, and we want you guys to preach a message. And I was like, okay, but this is perfect, because a church that doesn't even know that we exist here in this very same church, our office is upstairs, they don't really know what we're about. They don't know us very well. And so I figured talking about these things again and showing you guys what God is doing in our life and what we're seeking after will give you a better idea of who we are. And what I love is that it's a discipleship program. It's just a program to be discipled. And that is not the only place you can be discipled. Discipleship happens in small groups. Discipleship happens in getting coffee with a friend. Discipleship happens coming to church on Sunday and getting fed. Like, discipleship is not just in DMC. You don't have to be a college student. You have to be called to be a pastor. And so Tyler's going to come up here in a few minutes, and he's going to talk about how all of these things in discipleship doesn't stop at Master's Commission. It's not just for us. It's not just something like, oh, that's cool, those students are doing that, but that's not for me. It's actually for all of us. God calls us all to be discipled and to be disciples. And so Tyler will be up in a second, but before that, Kyle is going to come up, and he's going to share just a little testimony about how all of these things applied to him last year and how they're prepping him for his future. So thank you guys so much for your time, and here's Kyle.
Hello, I'll just do the basic intro. My name is Kyle. I'm a second-year student here at Duluth Master's Commission, or I will be, I guess, in a couple weeks. So I kind of just go into it. As of last year, like when I was going into school here in DMC, I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. Like originally, I was just probably gonna take a year off, do the usual, get a job, and just kind of live it out and feel it out a little bit. But the directors here, they ended up coming to my church and speaking and kind of sharing a little bit on DMC. And Axel, he's my cousin, so he kind of pushed me towards it a little bit more, and it kind of showed me exactly what it was about and stuff, but kind of showed me the basics. But I still didn't really know what I was getting into. I sent my application in, and one thing led to another. Kind of all worked out perfect. I was raising money and everything, so God kind of had a different plan for me instead of taking it easy and being comfortable. So it just worked out. It was like ended up just being perfect. And so as the year went on, I wasn't really know what I was kind of doing at first, but kind of with the topics Nicole was talking about, those, I think 8 of them are there, 10, but I experienced just about every single one of them throughout DMC, just that chance to like feel out and like really experience all of them. And like the reason I experienced all those is just because of the staff here and the people I lived with, Tony and Carol Fredrickson. They housed us last year, and it was just such a great experience, being able to have them, speak into us and just teach us stuff that we didn't know and whatnot. So it's just a great experience. And then we had the staff here, all the pastors. We worked with every single one of the pastors here last year quite a bit. So, I encourage each and every one of you to get to know them personally. They're just amazing people. But I feel God placed all those people in my life and those experiences to get me ready for something that I don't really know what it is. Like you guys heard earlier, working in the church, and that's really just kind of a broad thing because there's so many jobs in the church. But I feel like maybe through this year, I'll just get to learn more and more about what I'm going to be doing in the future, and I think God will just continue to put things in my life and experiences in my life to get me prepped for what I'm supposed to be doing and whatnot. So I'm just like really looking forward to this year and seeing what God will do in me and whatnot. But I'll stop talking now, and we'll have Tyler come up and just kind of close out for you guys, and just, yeah.
Hey guys. How are you guys doing? That's good. All right, I'm going to just jump right in because I talk a lot. All right, so the question I had for each and every one of you guys before we started, while I was preparing for this message, is are we, not this just this church, but the church, the whole church, the body of Christ, are we utilizing and applying these characteristics that we were talking about? Not just as a church in our interactions with the church body, but are we interacting with these traits with every single person that we meet, with every single interaction that we come across? Are we utilizing these things? This isn't just for DMC. This isn't just for a Bible college. This isn't just for people pursuing to be pastors. This is every single one of our commands. This is what God told us to do. We believe so firmly in these qualities, in these characteristics, that we believe every single interaction isn't just consisting of one, but more of these traits in each and every interaction. Our vision in DMC is to train and disciple young adults to go into the mission field, to go and interact with the lost, the unbelievers, the lost lambs. Our mission here at HCC is plaqued back there when you come in, is to reconcile people back to God through our relationship with Jesus Christ, through our love and knowledge of who God is, to show them a direct replication of who God is, and have them be in awe and wonder of why we are so different than every other church, why we love before we speak judgment, why we care so deeply about where their future is going, because we have this love that Jesus Christ had. And this is our heart. This is our vision. This is our mission. It all circles this, reconciling people back to who God is. Today, we have to ask ourselves, am I giving it my all to reach the ones who are lost? Am I going all in, or am I keeping some chips for myself? Turn to Hebrews 12 with me. Hebrews 11 talks about the hall of faith, as we call it. And it consists of all the heroes of the Bible, like Adam, Abraham, Moses, Noah. All these people that demonstrated such great faith because they trusted in who God was. And then chapter 12 is a description of what we can do to achieve that as well. So starting on verse 1. Therefore, we also, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witness, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which so easily ensnares us, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us, looking on to Jesus, the author and the finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and has sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. For consider him who endured such hostility from sinners against himself, lest you become weary and discouraged in your souls. I'm going to stop at verse 4. You have not yet resisted to bloodshed, striving against sin. Let's look at verse 4. This whole idea of bloodshed. When Paul is writing this to the people, he acknowledged that they were doing good in their faith. He said, you're doing good, but not yet have you achieved bloodshed. Not yet have you gone beyond just talking about Jesus and what he's done for you. But going to a place where you have to literally bleed and die. I have been put in prison multiple times. I've been beaten because I'm a disciple of Christ. You have not yet gone that far. And I know that's pretty extreme for us. You know, we don't have to deal with death, people dying in America because they're Christian or because they attend a church. And I'm not going to talk about the sin aspect of this. But let's look at the verse 4 again. But reconciling people back to Christ. You yet, in your reaching out, your evangelism, and all this, you yet have to receive bloodshed. So often, we doubt what we can do with other people when we reach out to people. So often, we quit once we get a bruise, or we get hit in the head a few too many times, or we get a paper cut. See, Lord, I'm bleeding, I'm out. So often we stop at that point. So often we don't give it our all. That may be extreme to think about. And you may be asking, do we really need to get to this point? Absolutely. We come to this atmosphere, this place of worship, and we give it our all. We do a little dance for God. We praise him. And we sit through a message, go home, and say, that was good. That was really relaxing. And then you go back to your sinful nature before you even came. Same nature, the same cycle that you came before church. This is not what church is. Church is not the cheat day in your diet. Church is the place you come saying, that was relaxing, that was great. Now I can come relax, rest up, and go back out there and do it again. Out there, behind those doors, that's our mission. Every square inch of the world is our mission. God said, go reach the ends of the earth. We lose sight of what God really wants. We get caught up in what the world is talking about. We get so focused on Donald Trump being stupid. We get so focused on Hillary Clinton being a mess up. We get too focused on our billboards being bigger than all the other ones because we want to spread church. We get so focused on this, and God is saying, no. Let me deal with that stuff. You are supposed to be my hands and feet. You're supposed to be spreading my love to other people. You are supposed to reach the world. We had a speaker come to our church for the youth, and he told the youth, church is not the place you come to worship and pray. He says, when you enter through those doors, you should already be worshiping and praying. This is the mindset you should have. Saying, God, you are good. You are great. In that circumstance that I had last Thursday with that lady at the coffee shop when she gave her life to Christ because of what I said and what I told her about what God has done to me. You should be coming, praising him for what he's done. This is exactly what Paul was saying. Sure, we're reaching people. Sure, we're doing a good job. But we could be doing so much better. They deserve better than us sitting and nagging. They deserve our love. As the body of Christ, we haven't been doing this. God says, go to the ends of the earth. He says, run this race, even when your feet have blisters, even when they're bleeding, run. Run even if you're crawling to the finish line. Run, but don't give up. The honest truth is, you can tell yourself, I will run. But you have to acknowledge, I will fail. I will get hurt. I will mess up. I will fail out there. But I will never be overwhelmed by what the world has for me and put us in front of me. Because God in 1 Corinthians says, I will make a way out for you. You are going to come across these things, but you will have a way out. I will never give up. We have these characteristics, and this is how we do it. We go out, we build this atmosphere of a family. We show love to people. We discipline ourselves and train ourselves for this race. We chasten ourselves. We correct our wrongs and strive to be better. We make ourselves available to be taught and learn from others. We demonstrate leadership that's without hypocrisy and show who Jesus really is. We don't settle for the way things are, but we strive by growing and helping others. We go beyond serving and the expectation people set in front of us. We sacrifice our time and our day for other people around us. We create these new ways to draw people in and show them love. You can do this by not just offering to give them a ride to church. You can do this by saying, hey, I know you like Suicide Squad. I know you want to watch it. I'll pay for you to get in there. I'll go with you. I'll pay for your food. I'll pay for your drinks. And we can enjoy the movie together. I don't even like Suicide Squad, but hey, I'll do it just for you. We do every single thing with excellence because they deserve it. Why? Because the God of creation came down and bled for us. And we are the reflection of him. See that cross? That is what we reflect. We keep that legacy going. Go like never before. Go until it feels like you're dying and come back to this place right here. Revive yourself. When you see people coming down, you can see that they've been crawling to finish this race and come back because they were struggling with what they were dealing with when they were out there. Now they're coming here to revive themselves. You can see that they're putting their sweat, their blood, their tears on this altar for either themselves or for others. Go and reach the ends of the earth and wait to see what happens. I assure you, it's something grand. It's all worth one more soul to enjoy eternity. Thank you, guys.
Hello. I know it's getting late. Sorry, I just have a few more words. The mission of DMC, or not just DMC, but Master's Commissions around the world, is to know God and make him known. Our students come into the program and they strive to know God. We can't force them to do it. They are choosing to do it. They are choosing to be discipled. And that is what they wanted to challenge you guys today. You may not all have the opportunity to join something like Duluth Master's Commission, but you do have the opportunity to know God and make him known. That is not just something that we can do. That is something that everyone here in this room is called to do. If they came in, and we tell them this all the time, you will get as much as you want from this program. It is up to you. You have to choose what you get out of this. You have to choose what you get out of your Bible study. You have to choose how much you grow. We cannot control that. We can do our best to help you and give you those opportunities. But if you don't choose to embrace it and strive for excellence, you won't get anywhere. But as you can see, our students strive to do their best. And they will go and they will do whatever it is that God has called them to do. And what they wanted to challenge you to do today is to also strive for the best, to also strive for excellence. There are pastors in this church, and they are great, just like they said, but they can't do it for you. You have to do it. You will get as much out of Christianity, as much out of this as you put into it. You can't just go home after this, like he was saying, and do nothing. You have to strive to get what you want out of it. If you put in the time, you won't be afraid when you see someone that you think, maybe I should invite them to church, like he was saying. Our mission is to reconcile people back to God. And you need to put in and strive for that excellence, just like they were saying. And that is their challenge for you today.